His 49 completions of at least 15 yards downfield were tied for 6th in the nation and more than Fernando Mendoza. The Alabama quarterback is courageous with the football, but he simply doesn't throw interceptions. He has the lowest percent of passes intercepted by any power conference quarterback in the last decade, just ahead of 2020 top overall pick Joe Burrow. Whoever drafts Ty Simpson will have to get him experience and protection. The team that does that will have a quarterback you can win a lot of games with.
All right, DJ, I don't know if you've heard this. Dan Orlovsky is a fan of Ty Simpson. What is your evaluation of him as a prospect at the next level, though?
Well, look, I went to the podiatrist, and my podiatrist asked me about that relationship between Orlovsky and Ty Simpson. So I know it's well established that that's his guy. Now, look, I'll start first of all. I've had a chance to talk with him on the phone. Exactly. He's a great dude. He's impressive when you talk to him. So you can see how he would be impressive with teams when he gets a chance to visit with them. I had an old quarterback coach a million years ago. He used to always challenge quarterbacks. How smooth can you be? How smooth can you be in your setup? How smooth is your release? Like he is teaching tape for how he sets up in the pocket, quick feet. He's got a real nice delivery. The ball comes out well. Dan talked about those, the trajectory, the layering of the ball. He does that exceptionally well. Anticipation, accuracy, all there. Now, when it comes to the concerns, we'll put the starts to the side for a second. To me, it's the size that bothers me. I think some guys, even when they're undersized, play big. I thought when he had bodies around and the ball ended up on the ground, you had the 7 fumbles. It felt like the field kind of shrunk on him. He got tossed around a little bit too much. So that, to me, was one of the concerns, is just how is that size going to play over a full NFL season? Wherever he goes, in my opinion, he does need to get a little bit stronger.
Yeah, I agree with that, DJ, with the size thing. And kind of the understanding of where he's in the pocket and in the strength, and I think a little bit of the injury. I wanted to talk to you. I did want to talk about the starts, okay? So, because I understand the starts, and if we look at the guys that have been drafted in the first round with less than 20 starts, I wanted to talk to you about starts versus age, okay? So if you look at over to the right side, Anthony Richardson, 20, Trey, 20, Mac Jones, 22, Kyler, 21, Dwayne Haskins, 21, Trubisky, 22. So Trubisky and Mac Jones are the two that were 22 at a minimum. Everybody else around 20 or 21 years old. Ty Simpson's 23. He's going to be 24, I believe, in December. Does that change for you or make you look at the starts different because he's 2 years older than those guys, or does that not matter at all?
Well, I think the two guys he would compare there are Mac Jones and Trubisky, which are the two that are a little bit older. I remember Trubisky, when I looked it up, he turned 23 4 months after that draft. So I don't think there's a big difference there. And those stylistically, he fits in more. Like Anthony Richardson was just kind of a freak show athlete, and you're betting on that it's all going to come together. To me, Dan, I still go back to the starts. I look at the two guys. If you look at quarterbacks, like in families, what style of quarterback is he, and what would he be if he was successful? I would say Purdy, and I would say Mayfield. Those would be the two guys. And when you look at them, Purdy was 47 starts, Mayfield was 46 starts, because they're going to have to win the game with their brain. So to have more experiences to rely on, I think that's important. And to me, that's why I like him a lot as a player. I just value that. I value that risk. I take that into account. And that's why, to me, it's the top of the second round. If you want to get in the back of one to get the extra year, I'm good with that. But up there in the top 15, 16, the starts thing to me is a real deal.
As you guys talk about the starts and you talk about Ty Simpson, from your perspective, as you watch quarterbacks, and DJ said it, Anthony Richardson at the top of that list, a lot of what people were believing in him was the athleticism. When you're looking at these quarterbacks and you're evaluating them, when you talk about teaching tape, accuracy, anticipation, do those traits you feel like translate a little bit better? So yes, you may have limited starts, but the things that you're really good at in those limited starts, I feel like will translate well, opposed to athleticism when everybody's a little bit more at this level.
For me, the number one thing that I believe transfers from college to the NFL is, can you see it and can you throw it? That's the number one thing. And I am of the belief that all over his tape is the ability to see it and throw it. I think I have two examples of him getting fooled by coverages. One against Vanderbilt on 4th down, and one against Georgia in the SEC title game when he throws a pick. Other than that, I see him going through reads quickly. And that's one of the reasons why, for me, DJ, and J-Mac, I fell in love with him in many ways. The player was, I see stuff that guys are running on Sundays, and maybe this is a flaw of mine, Baker Mayfields and Matthew Staffords and Jordan Loves and Brock Purdy's. I see them running the concepts, and then I see him running things similarly and operating it similarly and making the right throw. You know me, I say I don't like this guy can make all the throws. Don't care. Make the right throw at the right time. I think he does that all the time on his tape.
As you illustrated at the beginning, Simpson had a below 1% career interception rate. That's an Alabama record. We've talked about it before, too. They didn't have a run game. There were a lot of things about that offense that were not in Ty Simpson's favor, and you could explain away some of the issues there. We're going to dive into him so much more when we get to the draft, so there's a lot more coming your way. Reminder, too, that we have 2-hour shows on Thursday and Friday.
Dan's not done, Laura?
There's so much more, DJ.
Hey,
that was not a love fest.
Just wait, big guy.
That was like,
just wait.
DJ, that was like a little love note.
I think you do a lot of mock drafts now, big guy.
There's going to be a lot more coming. He lays it on thick. Okay, DJ, Mendoza and Simpson, your top 2 quarterbacks. But how does the rest of your top 5 shake out when it comes to the position of quarterback?
Yeah, to me, it's a couple big guys. To me, you start with Beck. The way he finished up, look, the questions with him about personality, maturity, more so than the skill set. He's got all that. So to me, I think he's intriguing from that standpoint as a day 2 pick. Then you get to Drew Aller. Look, it did not go well. It did not trend the right direction towards the end of his career. But you go back and watch him a little bit younger. You can see the flashes that can get you excited. He's been impressive with the teams. He's wired the right way. He's a sharp, smart kid. He's got to clean up some footwork. But he would be next. And then let's go to another son of a coach, Ty Simpson, the son of a coach. How about Nussmeier at LSU? Again, played much better in 24. He was healthier than what we saw this year, but finished it up strong at the Senior Bowl. So you like to see that. I think he's in that 3rd, 4th round range, but someone who I do believe has some starter upside, some starter traits.
DJ, quick question. For these guys that are like the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round quarterbacks, do you still look at them the same way you would the early round quarterback, the 1st round quarterback? Is it still the potential, the projection, the productivity? Like, do you view them in the same way or evaluate?
To me, I'd be a little more willing to gamble on upside the further on you go. To me, I'm not quite that risky early on. Later on, I'll take a shot on a guy.
Yeah, it makes sense. That's a good way to operate. Hey, new on NFL Live, by the way, our Colts reporter Stephen Holder, Colts head coach Shane Steichen says quarterback Daniel Jones is back to throwing and is performing dropbacks as well. Another step forward in his comeback from a torn Achilles back on December 7th. Steichen also added the Colts anticipate him being ready for training camp. Great news for the Colts. I think that's maybe a little quicker than we thought he'd be able to return, so huge for them. Hey, coming up next, we're going to put DJ in the hot seat asking some burning questions about some of the draft's top prospects. We kind of been doing that all show, but we're going to turn up the heat a little bit more. Some teams also that might be itching to move up on Thursday.